Texas hosted an LSU commit, Brysten Martinez, offensive lineman, 6'6", fits in the big human category because he is a big human. 6'6", 300 pounds, offensive tackle from Louisiana. Gerald, what do you like about this guy?
Yeah, I mean, he's got good feet, right? We've spent a lot of time this year talking about offensive linemen with bad and slow feet. He's a basketball player, so he's got some lateral movement. He's got the quick feet. He's able to. He plays center though because he's 6'6", right? It's like he's not the ball handler, but ultimately he's got good feet. He's a big human. He's very aggressive. He definitely likes to put guys in the dirt, which is what you love to see from an offensive lineman. He's very, very, very cranky. I'll say out there, just likes to be mean and nasty. I do think he's got like a weird kind of hunch when he's in pass pro. I don't know what that is. He's not taking a false step. Like his feet are good, but he looks, and maybe it's just a product of like blocking a guy that's a foot shorter than him, but it always looks like he's a little hunched over in pass pro. So like as he gets to Texas, I think like if he gets to Texas, the thing is to kind of get him to relax his back and lean into it. But I think ultimately he's a big prospect with good feet. And those are two things that Texas really desperately needs.
Yeah, I mean, I always like, the basketball background because we saw that with Cam Williams, very athletic for his size, moved very well. DJ Campbell, I believe, also played basketball at a pretty high level, moves very well, especially in the run game. Again, needs to be a little bit better in pass protection, but he's gotten better at that through his years at Texas. It's going to be interesting to me if this guy is a tackle or a guard. He could be either. I think he's in the tweener. And I know Texas probably wants a guard because we have a couple tackles in the class with Max Wright. And another guy as well. So I don't know what they want him to be here. It's going to be interesting if they do get him on campus, how they develop him, where he plays. But overall, I like what I see. He's a 4-star for a reason. He's not a 5-star. He's not some freak athlete out there, but he's also not, this giant mauler. He's a good, he's good in the run game. He's not great in the run game. Good in the pass game, not great in the pass game. But like you said, the feet are there and the body is there. And those are the two most important things. Because, guys, we see guys on this team who have one or the other. We had a guard, Connor Stroh, that didn't have great feet, but he did have the body type. So I think that's very important. And I hope we learned our lesson that, hey, it just can't be big humans. It's got to be big humans that can move well, play in this scheme, get out. Especially we like to run the screen game. You have to be able to get out there and run down the field and blocking the screens. I think this guy can do that better than some of the guys on the team currently.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Again, being able to get out there quickly. We saw it again against Vanderbilt. There were a couple of spots where the Texas linemen were still not in the right spots for screen passes. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. And I think this guy, again, we talked about it, good lateral quickness, good feet, quick. He's quick enough to be a decent basketball player. And he's quick enough he plays a little tight end, I think, for his high school as well. So like, he's not just this inline guy. So like, he's got some athleticism to him, which will go a long way for Texas as it tries to shore up and correct whatever the heck's happening in the O-line room.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting here. I'm looking at his offer list. We offered him, May 1st, 2024. So we've been on him for a while. Yeah. He committed to LSU in June of this year. And then obviously with the Brian Kelly firing. So it's going to be interesting. A lot of these kids do want to stay in Louisiana. I don't know who they're going to hire yet. There's really no smoke, which is kind of weird. To me, they kind of just fired Brian Kelly and didn't have a plan, which I understand because he had not succeeded, so he deserved to get fired. Yeah. But usually you do have a plan from the athletic director, but they don't have that either. So it's kind of turmoil there. It'll be interesting when they do get a head coach. Yeah. They got the governor, I believe, over there. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. He could probably make a better decision than Scott Woodward. Scott Woodward has hired Jimbo Fisher with the highest buyout ever, and then Brian Kelly with one of the highest buyouts ever. So he can't do much worse than that.
He did hire Jimbo, but the extension was not Woodward. Okay. The extension was the guy after him. He did hire Jimbo. He goes for splash hires. It is what it is, right? Like the Jimbo extension was the killer. Like the Jimbo hire was not good. The Jimbo extension was. And that wasn't Woodward. Actually, I think James Carville, famous politician and LSU grad, is actually really upset by the Jimbo Fisher slander. So we got to tread lightly on that.
Hey, he may get the job at LSU. I don't know. He was the offensive coordinator there for a national championship. I think his time's up. That'd be an awful hire to me if they did do that.
Terrible.
Yeah.
But who's going to want that? Who's going to want that job? Like we know, like. LSU should be one of the best jobs in the country. We're not like how the governor being all up in the Kool-Aid and like the board of directors, like board of governors, I think is what he's called it in Louisiana. Like the governor's picking the next head coach, and he's going to pick the next athletic director because they're the people that are going to make that decision were picked by the governor. But that's a whole nother conversation. Wild stuff.
Do you think if he comes to Texas, do you see him playing guard or do you see him playing tackle?
I think just based on what Texas has in the class, they probably are eyeing him at a guard. But, Texas does like to bring guys in that they can test out at both, right? We've seen it even this year. You've got a guy who you recruited as your tackle of the future that had to sub in at guard for a couple of games because of injury and matchup. So I think, get him on campus to see how his body develops. He still looks like he's got some room to grow. If you go and watch his tape, his feet look bigger than his body. So like when you think about, again, it's silly, but like puppies with big paws usually turn into big dogs. I think he's still probably got another inch or so of growth in him.
No, I agree. I think he's probably going to end up playing guard though. And it's going to be interesting, they, have pushed this kind of late because I think they were trying to flip Malachi Lee. I don't think Malachi Lee at this point is going to flip from Michigan to Texas. So they, he came in, visited, 36-hour unofficial visit. So there's definitely interest there, and it's going to be interesting how this plays out. The recruiting stuff has been kind of quiet for this cycle. We've kind of moved on to the 27 cycle. So we'll see what happens here. I think they would like to add one or two offensive linemen, and I think this is one guy they definitely like to add.
Yeah, and these LSU kids are in a weird spot. Like, you don't have a coach. There's a month till signing day. So, like, do you sign and hope that they get a good hire? Do you look elsewhere? Like, firing a coach mid-season, especially where they fired Brian Kelly, like, it's supposed to let you resolve these things. But the level of dysfunction they've got, like, some of these kids are going to jump ship, and I hope this kid is one of them.
I do as well. Hopefully we can get some players off the roster as well as also Florida. Dallas Wilson is injured for the year. I'm wondering how injured he really is. And if he can walk or what, he doesn't have to walk. We can go pick him up in Gainesville and drive him to Austin. I'd love to have him.
There's an offensive lineman that I think is starting as a redshirt freshman for LSU that's from the Houston area. So get him back in, get him in Austin.
Yeah, for sure. Again, guys, please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. We will hit you with updates. If he commits, we will drop a video. So please, again, hit that like button, subscribe down below. We really appreciate it. Now, go over to the comments real quick. Just to do says, really hope we can retain Le'Allen Clark. Guys, impact is evident. Yeah, I think for this year, we'll definitely have him in next year as well. But after that, I could see him moving on to becoming a defensive line coach somewhere.
Yeah, he's somebody that probably has a lot of upward mobility. He's just a couple, like 3 or so years into his coaching career. I think he was a GA for 2 years and then came to Texas. So like he's early on in his career. I'm wondering, Texas, you want to groom these guys for the future to be on your staff, right? So I wonder if Alan Clark is somebody that they really have like future designs for and future plans for. Pete Kwiatkowski's he's not going to become a head coach. He doesn't seem like to have that desire, but I think he's a guy that can be a great developer of somebody like Alan Clark in that role. So yeah, he's going to be around for at least another year, and Alan Clark is in a very advantageous position because his group is probably the most talented group on the team. So he's in a good spot there.
David Keith Williams, Brysten Martinez is listed around 6'5.5", 290, which to me is perfect size for his offensive line recruit. The recruit can be physically developed by strictly adding muscle. Yeah, I agree. I don't think you don't have to really do anything other than add. It's easier to, I don't know. It might be easier to lose unless you have a problem with food. If you have a problem with food, then you might, like Cam Williams did struggle with that. But I will say Cam Williams, when push came to shove, he got down and he's, pretty slim in the NFL now. So I don't know. I think it just depends on the person, honestly, body type wise. So for some people, it's hard to add muscle.
Yeah. And he looks like a kid who's probably one barbecue, or I guess he's from Louisiana, right? One crawfish boil away from 300. Like he's probably going to be in that range. Like it's not going to take much for him. But I also think, again, I said it when we were talking about him initially, like he looks like he's probably not done growing. So I wonder if he comes to campus, closer to 6'6", and pushing that 6'6.5". So that would be interesting to see again how his body develops. You get him on campus, you get him in a good nutrition program, and see how his body develops and where it goes.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think, Ray Becton and those guys have done a really good job. That's one thing,
Yeah.
guys. We used to have a lot of soft tissue injuries on this football team.
Yeah.
We don't really have that anymore. I guess Tom Herman talking about squatting like the week of games probably wasn't
Ooh.
the smartest thing to do when you're in the middle of a football
Yeah.
season. But, what do I know?
One rep maxes on game weeks are not usually your best bet.
Oh man, that's wild when they were talking about that. But again, guys, please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below.